How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a speed garage remix. This is going to be a two-part series. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make the drop and also the pre-drop. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the intro. So that's going to cover things like the piano, the arpeggiator, and the vocal chop. Great, guys, and this is what the track sounds like, just so you get an idea. Great, guys, as I said, we're going to be going over the drop and pre-drop, so let's have a look at the drums and the bass. This is what they sound like together. And if we just have a look at the drums on their own, all it is one drum loop. So this is for my Speed Garage Volume 1 pack. You can get that from the link in the description. As they've already been mixed, you don't need all the layers of drums, you just need one loop. So yeah, if we have a look at this, in terms of effects, all we've got is this filter and another filter here. But as I said, yeah, it doesn't really need any mixing, apart from it's got this Saturn, which helps to bind the bass and the drums together. So let's have a quick look at this. This is the Magic Mastering preset. I can't remember who put me onto this, but it is the absolute best preset for sort of gelling your drums or your kick and your bass together. It really just makes them sound unanimous. So yeah, really important. You slap that on the group. If we have a look at the filters then, that's the best place for it would probably be this second build up. So as you can see, I've taken out all of the top end and I've also taken out all the low end below 430 Hertz. If I was to remove that, you still have the bass, and then when it comes into the drop, it wouldn't have the same effect. We've taken all the low end out, and then when it hits the drop, it comes back out and has a lot more sort of feel to it, because all that bass is coming back in, so it creates a bit of an oomph. So yeah, on your pre-drops, it's quite important that you use filters to take out any of the low end, and in this case for the drums, the high end as well. And I've sort of, look, as you can see, I've faded that back in. That also helps to create tension. As you can hear that it's not all there, and you can hear it slowly coming back in, sounding more normal. And along with the riser, really creates tension. Yeah, that's it in terms of the drums. All I've used is one layer. You'll notice this whole track, it's only got about 14 layers, maybe even 12. I mean, a lot of tracks that I used to make used to have like 54 layers, 60 layers, and you just spend hours mixing them. Whereas if you keep a track really simple like this, it just sounds much easier to mix and everything sort of gels together nicely. I've noticed in a lot of Diplo's tracks, he does the exact same thing. His projects aren't huge. They haven't got like 50 layers. They're quite simple and minimalist, but the elements that are in there all work really nicely together, and it makes the track to sound really cohesive and full. Great, now let's have a look at the bass. So the bass is made of 2 layers. This is the first layer. This is a new preset from my Speed Garage Volume 1 pack. You can get that from the link in the description. This pack has over 60 presets for making insane speed garage. This pack is perfect if you want to be making 6 speed garage, like Interplanetary Criminal, Bush Baby, Prozac, Soul Mash Transit System, and all your favourite Speedy G artists. Great, so yeah, let's have a look at the patch. We have in Oscillator A, the Misfits. So you go to Digital and you search for the Misfits, like this. What you then want to do is up the unison to 2. You then want to detune it slightly, so I've gone for 0.16. And in the sub, we then have a sine wave. This is just filling out those low frequencies. I've actually kept the level quite low because I knew most of the bass would be coming from this sub layer. I'll get onto that shortly. But yeah, the magic with this is, and the unison, if you go into global, you need to change the width because this will naturally be on 100 and this, I think, maybe 100 as well. And you want to make sure both of these are on 0. This way, there is no stereo field, so it makes it mono. And then the double unison, so there's 2 misfit sine waves playing against each other and they're almost clashing, and that's how you get that effect. Without it. I mean, that sounds cool as well, but it's not quite what we're after. We want something a bit wider, or fake wideness, as there is in sort of mono. And if we have a look at this effects, all we have is this reverb. But we do on the macro have this wide knob, which is turning up the hyper, unison, as well as the dimension. Yeah, and lastly, you've just got this filter, which is taking out a little bit of the top end. If I take this off, you'll hear the difference. There's some really harsh frequencies that we really didn't need in there, so we've cut those off. We have a look at the effects. We've got this kickstart. So this, in case you don't know, I usually go over this in every video. It's just sidechain it to the kick. Obviously, the kick is in the drums loop, so you don't really, you can't really sidechain it directly to the kick. But this kickstart just does it to the 1/4, so the 4 on the floor, which is what the kick is, like the pattern of it in Speed Garage. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that. So then next we have the Pro Q3. This is an EQ, and I've just selected a preset from the dynamic, and I've gone for guitar repair. If I play it, you'll be able to see what it does. Oh, apologies, that's the wrong layer. So it's sort of keeping them a bit tamed. So this dynamic, every time the peaks get too high, so say this peak, this is pushing down against it. Same with here, sort of helping to keep the peaks in control and keep it more level. So yeah, that is quite a nice EQ. Obviously, this EQ is quite expensive, and you could just use the EQ8, but then yeah, you don't have this dynamic function. But yeah, I would recommend this, and it's probably if you're going to buy a third-party plugin, this would definitely be the one you should buy. It's just a really good EQ. Next, we've got this auto filter. So this is just happening in the drop. So if I show you the pre-drop, just like the kick, I've taken away the low end, so there's no bass. So then when it hits in the drop, it has a lot more impact. But yeah, that's pretty simple. I've also done that on this bit, the second drop as well, or the build up. If we have a look at the EQ8 then, I've put another EQ on here. So this is being used to cut out the low frequencies, because the low frequencies are being used by this, the second bass, which is the sub. I should probably rename that for you. Sub. So then what I've done on the sub is the exact opposite of this EQ. So this is taking out anything below 120. And this is taking out everything above 100, but on the other end, so any high end. So yeah, this is the high end bass, and this is the sub. I've also boosted it a little bit here, because when you're taking out frequencies, it's kind of good to boost around where you take it out, just to sort of make up for it. And next we've got this reverb. This only comes in the pre-drop, as you can hear. None there, but on here, loads. Great, and now let's move on to the sub. And this is the sub. So again, this is in the same Speed Garage Volume 1 pack. You can get that from the link in the description. And yeah, all we've got is a saw wave and a filter taking out any frequencies above 222 Hertz. In terms of effects, there's no effects. It's a pretty simple patch, but sub basses are really. So yeah, these two sort of merge together. This one taking the low end, this one taking the high end. I'll show you the MIDI. So yeah, the MIDI is fairly simple. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of notes to it. Yeah, we're in the key of A sharp minor. So this sort of just plays along like this. Quite a normal like deep house pattern, I suppose. Or not really, more of a trance pattern, because it's hitting on everything. Almost like a rolling bass. So yeah, it's basically hitting on every note. So I've then, you got to add in some different notes to like spice it up a bit. So yeah, I've gone for this F. So I mean, it's probably a Methods by Madness, but not really. So that's a third. So that's a fifth. Gone for a fifth up, and then this A sharp is just an A sharp up here, and then it keeps going like that. Fifth again, and then just like a normal deep house bass line, it goes to F sharp, C sharp, and B. Obviously, I've got other videos with a lot more detail about how to write bass lines. But yeah, I sort of already had the vocal in the project, and then I wrote the bass line around the vocal. There's also a switch up. So in the second drop, that's the same within this bit. I felt like because the vocal changed, the bass needed to change. Same progression, so A down to F, etc. But the amount of notes I'm playing, as you can see, it's not like a rolling bass line on every half note. It's sort of a bit more rhythmatic, so it's got its own rhythm to it. I've also fucked around and changed like the length of the notes and stuff like that. It's really good to play around with the length of the notes so they match like the vocal and the sort of groove of the drums and that. But yeah, so that's a lot of sort of switch up I've done. Great, and lastly, we've just got the effects. So all we have is white noise risers and downers. This is what they sound like. So again, these are from that same Speed Garage drums pack I was talking about at the start of the video. You can just use any white noise effects. They're pretty simple. Go onto Splice or YouTube or basically any sample pack or any good drum sample pack will have white noise effects. These are quite nice and good ones, to be fair, but there's plenty out there, and at the end of the day it's just white noise. So yeah, have a search around, go in here, search like noise, all this sort of stuff, and I'm sure you'll find something. Yeah, if we have a look at these, it's important with white noise effects that you sidechain them. So again, I've done the sort of sidechain to the kick, and for some reason I've put any band under that. I'm just going to change that. So what that band was doing was making sure it only sidechains below 320 Hertz. I probably had that on the sub bass and copy and pasted it. So yeah, it's a good thing that I've sort of clocked onto that. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that video useful. In the next video, I'll be going over the intro. So this is going to be the pianos, the ARP. There's also a reese bass in there and another bass. I'm also going to be going over what's on the master in chain 2. So stay tuned for that next video. Thanks. See you next time.